Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's webinar. Today, we are going to be talking about getting started with Power BI. So when we're talking about the benefits of Power BI, one of the main things is you can build your reports without needing to write code. And this means that you don't need a developer to be doing that for you. And I'm sorry that my things are flying in here in the wrong order. But the number one thing that I always talk about when I'm giving a benefit of Power BI is that you can connect to the multiple sources that you have, and you can view the data in one spot. So if this sounds familiar, where you have to log into an accounting system and pull your accounting data, you have to pull into either a CRM system or an Excel spreadsheet to get sales data. You need to pull up maybe a production system or time tracking system, any other type of software that you might have to pull up, and you're pulling bits and pieces of data together to present in one large report. Well, with Power BI, you can combine those multiple sources and you can view that data in one report or on one dashboard. So you don't have to kind of piecemeal a whole report together. Automatic refreshing. So this is something that is capable with Power BI Pro, and you can set up the system and give it parameters for when you want the data to be refreshed. This allows your data to stay up to date without the need for someone to manually run a report. It's going to help cut down on time. People can pull up the report, view it at any time, and will know, that data is up to date. Analytical tools to alert you to potential problems. So a common thing that I see with companies is having to react to problems. You get done with a job and you're reviewing the statistics and you're like, well, we lost money on that, or we didn't do as well as we hoped. You can give some feedback, try and figure out where it went wrong, and just, well, we'll try and do better next time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but something that you can do with a reporting tool like Power BI is you can get that up-to-date data, and you can start to see a job that may be going south before it's over, so you can course correct a little more in the middle. A really neat feature, it's not one that I often talk about with Power BI, but it's something that people really seem to love, is the fact that you can subscribe to your reports and dashboards and have them emailed to you periodically. You can also email them to others, so you could set up a distribution list. For example, if you have a sales team and you want the sales report to go out every Monday morning before you guys have your weekly sales meeting, or a production report that goes out before a meeting in the field or during the week, you can also have them emailed to you if that's something that's easier to remind you to look at it. The next thing that I want to cover are steps to create a report. And we're going to spend a lot of time in demo here, so I'm just going through these slides so that you do have the information. When you're looking to create a report within Power BI, here are the steps that you need to take, and I've marked a couple as optional. That is more advanced knowledge with Power BI. If you want to get in, create a basic report, the things that you need to do, you need to connect to your data sources, build your visuals, and you can save and publish the report. It is really that simple. If you want to polish up your report or do some more analytics, you can spend some time cleaning your data. You can transform it, you can apply formulas and create new columns, things like that. And then after you've created a report, you can set up those automatic refreshes, share the report with others, and subscribe to your reports. So these are the main 5 things that I walk through anytime I do a training. Some of the things are a little more advanced, but we will at least take a look at where these things can be done when we get to working with Power BI here in a little bit. So without further ado, let's get into the demo. The two things we're going to do is the first thing is we are going to look at example reports. I'm going to show you a few reports that I've created that can show you some of the functionality of Power BI. It can also give you something to brainstorm on. You know, there's definitely things that you could apply differently within your company, but you might like a feature or a particular way that a report looks. So it's really to help you brainstorm what you might be interested in creating within Power BI and just to know some of the features within the reports. And then we will at the end have a run through of how you can get in and start creating your reports. So let's go ahead. There's two versions of Power BI. There is the Power BI Desktop and the Power BI Pro, which is the online version. For looking at the reports today, we are going to be looking within the online version. Generally, when you share reports with others, you are going to be doing that. They'll be viewing the reports here in the online version. And it simply is just powerbi.com. You sign in using your Microsoft login or your Office 365 login. And this is what my home screen looks like. I have a dashboard that I have favorited that is showing up here at the top. And then it shows me my favorite and frequent reports, dashboards, data that I use. The other thing that you'll see here on the left-hand side is underneath the My Workspace, this is also where I can navigate to the dashboards and reports that I have. So let's take a look at the difference between a dashboard and a report with Power BI. So I'm going to look at this company dashboard. All a dashboard is pulling together different visuals from multiple reports, or you can do it from one report too if you want. So I have some visuals from a sales report here. I have a job cost visual. We have a couple service call ones, and then I have some here based on attrition and yearly reviews. So what is neat about a dashboard, if you're looking for that overall 10,000 foot view, you know, I want to know the health of my company right now, a dashboard can pull in a lot of those tiles. You can also create this on a report. We'll look at the differences here. So with a dashboard, say I want to know more about this progress to our sales goal. If I select a tile on the dashboard, what it's going to do is take me to that report. So I'm going to go ahead and select the sales goal here. And what this does is it takes me to the sales report. So this is where you would want to think about if you need a dashboard or if you just want to build a report. When you're within a report and you want to look into the data, you can have the other visuals there to support your data. You can have multiple pages. As you see, we have 2 pages here. It's similar to how Excel reports can have multiple tabs. It's pages within Power BI. So with a dashboard, you navigate back to report. From a report, you could create a report face and then have a detailed tab that could help you to drill into data as well. So really there, it's going to depend on personal preference. We're looking at our sales report here now. You can see we have some different visuals. We've set a progress to our sales goal. So we have our sales goal is 300,000 for the year. We are definitely not doing too well. Oh, here I can see I've got one of my filters selected. I'm going to go ahead and clear the selections here so you can see. I thought we were doing better. Still not doing the best for being over halfway through the year, but this looks a little better. We have our progress to our sales goal. We can see our customer balances by aging. So you can see we have quite a substantial amount of money in the over 180 days bucket. We can also see our top 10 customers by balance. So we know who we should probably be focusing on the most because that really is a high balance between these top 10 customers. We also can see our top items, 10 items sold. So this really can tell you, you know, this is making, as you can see, 74,000 of about $80,000 sold for the year. These 10 items make up most of our revenue. So it can help you spot what your big ticket items are, highest sellers. Another cool thing that we're doing in here is we can see sales by territory, and it also says end salesperson. So what Power BI allows you to do is they allow you to drill down into your data. You can start from, a level like this is a territory level. It's commonly used with dates, where you can start from like year and then go into month and then go into day. So with this one, we've set our own hierarchy. We're starting by looking at sales by territory. If we select this down arrow, and then we want to know more about this, territory 7, tell me about this $13,000, and I select territory 7, now it's going to tell me of that total, Aaron has sold, just over 12,000. Gary is only sold $531. Territory to salesperson, a lot of times most companies have one salesperson per territory, but this could also be applied if you had divisions, branches, different offices. You could start looking at an overall division and filter down into it, okay, within this division, let me look at this branch or this location. And with this, my demo data, it's from 2027 and 2028, but a lot of times what we would do would be like this year and last year. So demo data is just way in the future here. But what we've done is we've compared by month, year over year, where are our sales falling. We can see we had a huge spike in sales in April of 2027. So it can help you spot trends throughout the year. Maybe you could look at months as you get the year over year statistics that you have typically lower sales. Maybe that's a time to run a special or try and boost those sales. Or look at the months you have higher sales and take advantage of the months that you have higher sales. Within the maps, you do have the ability to see where your customers are located as long as you have an address or a city or some type of location field. You can even use latitude and longitude. In this case, I've used just the address, and I can zoom in and hover over any of these spots, and we can tell the different colors are the different customer class tiers. And when I hover over the spot, I've got quite a bit of information. So this is telling me the address, the customer class, their balance, the name, the contact person, and who their salesperson is. It can be helpful. We're going to look at it a little bit from a service call perspective. Where are our open service calls? So maps can really help you to visualize where things are graphically. Within Power BI, you have the ability to have interactive filters. Power BI calls them slicers, and here we have 4 different slicers on this particular report. So if we wanted to say, just look at a particular territory, give me territory 4. The visuals will update and show us, now territory 4 is responsible for 32,000 of that yearly progress. And you can see how the aging changed for that particular territory. And you can look at their month over month sales. So you can filter down to a specific territory. If we wanted to filter by a particular customer class, we could do that. And it changes all the visuals that are on the report. Salesperson is the same way. If we want to look at a single salesperson, we could do that. You also can set up your slicers where you can have multiple people that you can select. And another neat thing with your slicers is not only that you can have them, but you can have a search box. So say you specifically wanted to look for one customer. For example, I'm going to look for our Central Illinois Hospital. Select that. And now you can see the visuals have all updated to show me the data for Central Illinois Hospital. Another feature with Power BI that is really popular is the ability to create focus pages. So we have an overview here. We can see how much we've sold, the items, all of that, but maybe we want to know more specifically about this customer. So you can do what is called a drill through within Power BI. So I'm going to right click here. I'm going to drill through, and I want to go to the customer details page. So what this has done is this has pulled up the other page of the report, and now the visuals I've placed on here give me more specific data to that customer. So we're still looking at the Central Illinois Hospital. We can see who the contact person is, the overall customer balance. They're not on hold. You can see here that they've got all of their balance over 180 days. We also can see their full address. And down here, I've also pulled in the last activity. So the last statement, date and amount, and the last payment date and amount. And this can be anything. It can be customized to the data you want to see. But the point is that you can create those real detailed pages so that if you want to keep drilling into your data so you can get down to an individual record, you have that capability through the drill through. So let's go back. We've got a little button here that'll take us back to the main page of the report. And then we could go back and we can clear out our search and we could look at another customer, or we could be done with the report. That's just how you can move around a report. Let's look at another type of report. And I'm going to go back to our company dashboard just so you can see the navigation from a dashboard. One of the other tiles we have on here is related to job cost. We can see here by our divisions, the anticipated markup and contract earned, things like that. So I'm going to select that, and that's going to take me to the job cost report I have. And we have some cool things happening on this report, some cool features. So with this chart here that's showing us that anticipated markup, things like that, we have the drill down turned on here again. So this shows going from divisions. If we want to go from divisions, we want to know more about what's going on in this commercial division. If I select that, it's going to take us down to the individual project managers within that division. Again, hierarchies are completely customizable. This is just another example of one. We have slicers here too by the customer name, the job name, or the project manager. So if you want to just see, I want to know how Anne is doing, I filter to her, and here are her jobs, and the graph is changed to reflect her statistics. With tables like this, that is just listing data, this is showing us the jobs, customer, the contract type, and giving some basic data. We also can apply conditional formatting, and this has become really popular. It's a newer feature of Power BI. And what I've done is I have applied a rule to this that if the difference, so when we take actual cost and committed cost compared to the forecasted cost, it would tell us we've spent 50% of what we've forecasted. We're comparing that to the percent complete of the job. So if we've spent 50% and we're only 29% complete, that job may not be doing so well. And what we've done is we've applied parameters. If there's more than a 15% difference between those two, we're having it in red. If there's between the 5 to 15%, it's in yellow. And if there's less than a 5% difference, the job is in green. This is a way to quickly spot potential problems. There may be nothing wrong, but it's just something that you may need to take a closer look at. So with this, we've created a drill down as well on this one. So I'm going to take a look at this first job here that is showing in red, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to drill through to the individual job information. And what I've pulled in here, has the basic information of the job. I know my dates right here with jobs are all 1900. We'll just pretend that they are actually going to be happening. But what I can look in here is a little bit more into the cost elements. How much have I spent? How much is committed? And how much have I forecasted per, laborers, materials, subcontractors? So what I can see here when looking at this, the job is only 41% done. I've already spent everything I've budgeted with the subcontractors. But what has probably happened is I have signed contracts with them to perform the job. They may be waiting for the materials or for the first subcontractor to do their job. They may not have completed their portion yet. I wouldn't be as worried about this job knowing that you have to prepay or commit to paying, and everything here is in that committed cost section. So it's a way that you can get more details about an individual record. Also on this with the jobs, we've pulled in notes too, so you can see specific notes related with a job. And we're going to briefly look at our other couple of reports. We have a service report and an HR report. A lot of the features are the same that we're using overall. So let's take a look at this calls by month and day of week. So this is pulling from our service calls, and it's showing us, how many open calls do we have, how many completed, what's our average. It's showing us by the service area. Something that has been super beneficial that we've used, and I have this sorted descending. I wanted ascending here. I've got it sorted here by month and then down to day of week. So we can see April is our heaviest month for service calls. If I drill down, I'm looking at April here, I can see by far I get the most service calls on Monday. So this could tell me staffing needs. I need to have more people available on a Monday or more people staffed on a Monday to handle the calls we receive. If you didn't want to look by month, you just wanted to know overall day of week with the drill down, instead of using the down arrow and selecting one point, if we select this arrow, it just goes to the next level. Instead of just showing us April, this is combining all of them. And you can see Sunday overall is actually pretty high as well. So this could give us more of a weekly staffing need than just a particular month. So another way that those things can help you spot your needs. Another thing that you can do within Power BI is create buttons. So while before we had drill throughs, this will allow you to set a bookmark or navigate to a website outside of Power BI. In this case, when I click View Appointments, it's navigating here to the appointments page that we created. However, it also could direct us, if we wanted to go to weather.com or another online system, then you could direct to that website. And within the service call one, we also have one of those drill throughs where you could take a look. I don't know why those closed popped up here, but let's say we wanted to look at this first open one. And we have the individual call information. So we've used a lot of the same features in multiple reports, but just a few different ways that you can use that. The last report that I want to show you here is the HR report. And what we've done with our HR report, overall, we're just calculating attrition for the year by position, department, and manager. We have some year-over-year attrition and active employees, so we can start to see that we're having a definite upwards trend year-over-year in total employees leaving. Is that just because we've hired more and we have more active employees? There could be, the percentage may be similar, but it is something to help us identify potential problems. We also are identifying overall attrition by length of tenure, so you can see a majority of our people leave between 1 and 4 years. So just some neat statistics that you can put on a report. The other thing that I have in here, for this page, it talks about our yearly reviews, and you can see this year we have not gotten most of our reviews completed on time. We'll just attribute that to 2020 struggles. And just some statistics about the yearly reviews that have been done. You can see which managers have overdue reports. You can see overall ratings. Most of them are good. Very traditional within companies that most of your employees fall in that good category. So those are the overall reports that I wanted to show you. And I know we only have a few minutes left, and I want to make sure I show you the basic steps and how easily you can get started building a report. But the other thing I just want to point out while we're here, we had talked about subscribing. Any report you're on, any dashboard, subscribe is right here within this gray toolbar. And if you select that, you can add a new subscription. You can choose to have daily subscriptions, weekly subscriptions, you can go hourly, and you can do just after your data refresh. So you can have those automatic refreshes and have it send you an email after the refresh has completed. When you subscribe to an email, this is what it will look like. So you can see this, it sends a snapshot of your overall report. This is that company dashboard, and it gives you also a ping file. You can also connect to the dashboard or the report by selecting this link. So something kind of cool. I know that's a super popular feature. So let's go ahead and cover how you create just the basics. And I'm pulling up the Power BI desktop here. So this is the free downloadable Power BI desktop. It's where I create all my reports. I love to look at them online, but I always create them here. I just find it works easier for me. You can create within the online version, but I also tell people start with the desktop version. Build your reports before activating a Power BI Pro license. Test it out, get familiar with it. I always recommend starting here. So when you get data, there are multiple sources like I talked about. If we go to this more option, there are just a ton, if it pops up here, that you can choose from. Common ones that I work with on my customers is connecting to a SQL server, connecting to like a CRM system, things like that. But for the sake of this, we're just going to connect to Excel. A lot of people love Excel, so not going to hate on that today. So we're going to do an Excel, and I just selected the file. If you are using an Excel file that a lot of people use, I definitely recommend having it in a shared drive. Here we can see I have just one sheet in my Excel file, but if there were multiple sheets or if you were on a source that had multiple tables, you can preview them by highlighting them, and then you just select which ones you want. If you were going to clean and transform your data, you would select Transform Data, but we're just doing the simple steps here, so we're going to go ahead and load. And one thing with loading data, the reason we like to do SQL views more than connecting to any raw SQL tables is amount of time that it takes to load. This Excel document did not take a long time to load because there's not a lot of rows to it. If you start connecting to a lot of raw data, it's going to take a lot longer to load. So you can see here off to the right-hand side, these are the fields that have pulled in from our source. The first thing I will always tell anyone to do when creating a report is to go to Insert an Image and add a logo for your company. You really don't have to do this, but I think it makes reports just look a little more professional, and why wouldn't you want your logo on there? And then to start building any visuals, your available visualizations are right here on this tab, or you can just start pulling fields onto the report. So let's go ahead and just create a couple so you can see. First thing I'm going to do is I want to know how my salespeople are selling. So I want to see by salesperson how much they've sold. It's automatically defaulting to a table visual. I think that's boring. So I can change the visuals just by selecting any of them. If you don't like how something looks, see how it looks by changing the visual type. Usually with this, I like to do a plain column graph here. Then let's say we want to do a pie chart. So I'm going to select the visual first, and you can see it's got a little gray area here. And we can pull the data points to the different parts over here, the legend, details, values. So in this one, I want to see by state how many things we're shipping. So I'm going to take the shipment method as the value, and you can see it's defaulting to count of shipment methods. So you can see that I have 3 things here to ship to Illinois. I have 2 orders to ship to Indiana. It's just something for me to know kind of how much I've got going everywhere. For maps, like we looked at earlier, you do have to have some sort of location field. And in this one, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the city. Power BI tries to be smart and default to the type of visual it thinks you want based on your field. So I pulled city over here, and you can see it has pulled up a map. One thing I can do, it's got dots here based on the cities, but now I want to make bubbles either larger or smaller based on how much we've sold in that city. So I'm going to use document amount and pull it here into size. And now you can see in Detroit here, we've sold for almost 44,000, whereas the smaller dots, La Crosse, almost 2,000. And then just a couple more things that I will show you. You can format your visuals. There are so many things. Anytime you want to take action on a visual, you need to have your brackets around it. And then the paint roller here is where all the formatting options reside. So you can change your title names, you can change colors, you can add categories. There's just so many things you can do. When you have a graph like this, there also are analytics available in the magnifying glass where you can add constant lines, minimum and maximum lines. So some cool analytic features you can use to help the aesthetic of your report. There's quite a few visuals here, but sometimes you might want to see something different. Power BI does have the option here at the ellipsis. If you select Get More Visuals, it's going to pull up the App Store, and at least it should here for me. There we go. App Source. So what that does is this has a bunch of free visuals that you can download and use on your Power BI reports. If you were to choose one of these, maybe you wanted the globe map here instead, we could add that. A visual is only imported into a single report. So if I wanted to use this globe map on a separate report I was creating, I would have to import it on that report as well. But now if I change to this, it appears as a globe map. Because we're in a small area, it's not something I would actually use, but just to show you how those visuals work from the app source. I'm going to go back to the one that I liked for that. So I know I went a few minutes over time, but I feel like we definitely covered a lot. If you guys do have any questions or concerns about Power BI, you want to look into it, or you're not sure if it's right for you, definitely more than willing to sit down, take a look at your needs, and help you come up with a solution that will work for you. I recommend getting in there, trying it out. It's fun to play with, but I know it can get frustrating because it is just something slightly different than other reporting services. But once you get to using it, once you start seeing those reports, I know that you will love it. Are there any questions? Wonderful. Well, everybody have a great rest of your day. Thank you for spending some time with me. And I look forward to seeing you guys on another webinar.